Chapter 36. Sample. Dr. Morcassius and I were not on good terms the next day, but at least now I felt comfortable going to a room. I went in first, and then he entered a few minutes later with a chip on his shoulder. What is up? I asked, trying to make small talk because I don't want him to stop holding a grudge against me. I just have been feeling frustrated lately, Dr. Morcassius answered. With what? A lot of things. You sampled my frustration yesterday at Harold Washington Library, State of Van Buren. Oh, I see. Thankfully, it is the weekend, and now I can relax. Or you're going to stay up for Dad to return from Cleveland? I'm going to try. I may even go to the station. I don't want you to go all the way back to Midway Airport. Why? Because people will stare at me there, and that's something, because people will stare at me there, and that's something I just don't want to put up with right now. Why? If people don't like how we dress, that's their problem. Because I don't want to deal with it, period, end of discussion. George then came into our room a few minutes later. Did you have a better day today at school, George? I asked. Yes, just exhausting, said George, laying down on his bed. That I'm sure about, I said. Have you heard from Dad at all? George asked. He said he has had a busy day ahead of him, and that he wasn't going to be able to head to the airport until 8 Cleveland time, which is 7 Robbinsog time, because Ohio is 1 hour ahead of us, I answered. I see, said George. His flight doesn't get in until 11 Robbinsog time, which is midnight Cleveland time, I answered for George without him asking for it. I got a phone call from Mom as I was passing Belmont. She said she was going to be 2 more hours, said Dr. Morcassius. Well, then it looks like we are going to be absolutely parentless for the next 2 hours, I said. That gives us time to discuss our trip to Orlando, to visit, Grandma and Grandpa for New Year's, said Dr. Morcassius. What do you want to discuss specifically? George asked. Your map, Dr. Morcassius answered. George then brought out his map. Do you see how all the numbers are written in green? Dr. Morcassius asked. Yes, answered George. Do you know what that means? Dr. Morcassius asked. What? George asked. What do you think? Dr. Morcassius asked. Oh, I need to solve them, said George. Yep, Dr. Morcassius answered. What do those numbers mean? George asked. On the back of these places, on the back there are addresses to all 9 points on the map. I looked into it, but I'm going to tell you it all at once because I need to sample what everything is, Dr. Morcassius said. Okay, said George. Well, what are you waiting for? Start Googling, I said. It was about 5 minutes because Dr. Morcassius was recording the addresses down and what each business is. Here is the list of each place, said Dr. Morcassius. I got to look at it first because I'm the one solving this riddle, said George. George then took a few minutes to look at the list. All these places seem fun, said George. George then gave me the list. Here you go, said George. I then took a look at the list. Here is what he wrote, though I don't want to give away the actual addresses. 1. Funimation, Zionsville, Indiana. 2. Weston, downtown Cincinnati. 3. The Sensphere in Knoxville, Tennessee. 4. Hyatt's, downtown Atlanta. 5. Grandparents' house. 6. Red Roof Inn in Valdosta, Georgia. 7. Cannonball House in Macon, Georgia. 8. Mammoth Cave Hotel. 9. Robbinsog. Whoa. One of those things the return wants us to find is here in Robbinsog? I asked. Yes, but the return wants us to find them in order, said George. Stop addressing the return as the return. It is Grandma or Grandpa, I said. What makes you think that? I asked. These riddles lead to their house. These riddles lead to their house, said Dr. Cassius. Should we tell Mom and Dad? They asked. No, because it could be the end of us trying to save her life, said Dr. Cassius. Not if she tries and stop them and they counter her, I said. Well, here is the thing, though. These puzzles don't end at our grandparents. They go on. And you know how private Grandma and Grandpa are. I really do think they're the ones behind this, but I don't know for sure, which is why I can't have my cover blown, said Dr. Cassius. Fine, I said. So here are the rules for this Nord trip to Orlando. I am the driver, Samuel the navigator, and George Ward the solver, said Dr. Cassius. Fine, said George. I would have preferred it if I was the one who was the solver, because I was the one who solved the riddles to help us find this, but okay, I said. Thank you, said Dr. Cassius. Is there anything else you need to discuss regarding this? Yes, I need to discuss with Mom and Dad, or stops at Fanimation Zionsville, Indiana, the Sunsphere Knoxville, and the Cannibal House in Macon, Georgia, said Dr. Cassius. You need to say that these weren't your ideas because they already think you booked the hotels, I said. Then you tell them, said Dr. Cassius. Fanimation can be my idea, the Sunsphere can be yours, and the Cannibal House can be both of ours, said George. Done, I said. Fanimation is a ceiling fan factory, isn't it? Yes, said Dr. Cassius with a smile. Yay, said George. It was about another hour and a half before Mom got home. George and I greeted her at the door. What is up? You never greet me at the door, said old Mom when she was entering Robbinsog with a smile and hugging us. George and I found places along the route to Orlando we would like to stop at, I said. What are they, old Mom asked. I found Fanimation, which is a ceiling fan company in Zionsville, Indiana, that I found, and they have a museum for ceiling fans. George lied, but I could still tell that he wanted to go. Where is Zionsville, my mom asked. You know where I-465 hits the east end of I-865? I asked, because I know where everything is. In Indianapolis? My mom asked. Well, it's in that area, the northwest corner of Indianapolis, I answered. How far out of our way is it, my mom asked. 3 minutes if we stop on the way down, I answered. I think we can do that on the way down, said my mom. Good, said George. Did you find something else? Did you find something, Sam? My mom asked. Yes, I want to stop at the Sunsphere in Knoxville, I asked. For observation, my mom asked. Yes, I answered. We can do that, but also on the way down, because Knoxville is a city we're only going to pass through on the way down, said my mom. Fine, I said with a smile, because everything was falling into place. Sam and I found something together, said George. What is it? Or Mom asked. It's called the Cannonball House. It is located in Macon, I answered. What goes on there? Or Mom asked. It is a museum devoted to Georgia's heritage during the Civil War and Reconstruction, George answered. You do know I love learning about the Civil War, I said, which was true. That we will stop at on the way back up, said my mom. Okay, I said. Now you know that your father and I are going to throw some stops in there too, my mom asked. Yes, I answered. Yes, said George. Is Marcus aware of this? Because you know he is doing the driving, or Mom asked. Yes, I answered. Yes, said. Good, said my mom. George and I went back to our room. We're all set, I said quietly. Good, said Dr. Cassius. Anything else? George asked. No, said Dr. Cassius. Actually, I have something else, I said. What is it? Dr. Cassius asked. Since we suspected his grandma or grandpa, do you think we should interrogate them when we get down there? I asked. Yes, but I need to put them under oath so they can swear themselves to secrecy, Dr. Cassius answered. And We need to do it in private too, George added. That's my boy, said Dr. Morcassius, giving George a noogie. Just then, Mom came in. Where do you boys want to go to dinner tonight? I know we went to McDonald's last night to save some money, but tonight I'm willing to spend some more. Asked my mom. Is Zoko okay? Is Zoko okay? I asked. Yes, answered Dr. Morcassius and George. Okay, Zoko it is, said my mom. Are we leaving now? I asked. 5 minutes. I just need to use the restroom first. We then put our cloaks back on and left Robbinsog for the Red Line, which is what it takes to go to Zoko, which is off Grand. After we arrived at the restaurant, placed our orders, our mom began talking to us. So, what is up with you? Our mom asked. We're feeling relieved. We're just feeling relieved after a hard day at school. And because it's the weekend, Dr. Morcassius said. I am glad you are feeling better. Thanks, I said. I also feel relieved that I am not too happy that somebody made purchases with my credit card. I am happy that we now have our entire trip down and up from Orlando planned out. Said our mom. Me too, said George. Just then my mom's phone went off. Hello, my mom said into the phone. Pause. So you're heading back to the hotel now to pack up? Pause. Okay, see you in a few hours. I love you. My mom then hung up. That was Dad, I asked. Yep, he had extended checkout, so he was going to his hotel to pack up and then he will be on his way to the Cleveland airport, said my mom. I wonder how he feels with him taking a total night flight, I asked because of what he was talking with me about on the way to Midway Airport. It was darker in Cleveland than it is here, so my guess is that he is optimistic, said my mom. Can I ask you a question in front of your other kids? I asked my mom. Well, my guess is if he told that to Marcus can because he is older than you, do you think you should ask in front of George? My mom asked in a serious tone. I don't think he would understand it, I asked. Is it inappropriate? My mom asked. No, I answered. Ask away, my mom asked. You and Dad are both optimists. Is that why you act like kids most of the time? I asked with edginess in my voice because I'm not sure who would take it. Yes, answered my mom.